Can you see my screen, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to start with our front end first quickly. So we've already made a user, so we're just going to log in. Now you can see we've created a bunch of events. Obviously, I'm the owner of this event, so I can sign up using GraphQL for this event. So I'm just going to create one to show you it works. We will call this picnic. Price, let's go 10. Today, fun for the description, confirm. You'll see it appears here. Right, now if we go to our Mongo database and I refresh this and go to events, you'll see it appears here, picnic. So that works. And then I'm going to just copy this object ID real quick. And now I'm going to book an event using a mutation. See, now it's been booked. We can also check this through our MongoDB. Here you can see it's got the event and user ID and everything that's there. Now if we go to our front end, you'll see under bookings we have picnic. Also appears on our charts. This was 2 earlier, now it's at 3 because it's clarified under cheap. And now we will get into our code.
So in the app.js, we looking at line 26 to line 33. So over here, we set up the GraphQL endpoint using Express GraphQL. When a query like bookings is sent, it's routed through the middleware, which connects it to our schema and our resolver.
So the same thing happens for mutations like book event, but before the request reaches our GraphQL, it's going to go through our auth. So it's going to pass through this to check pass through our auth middleware if the user is logged in.
Cool.
So here at our const token line 16, this middleware checks authorization for the header for a JSON web token. If this is valid, it's going to attach the user ID to the request. This is how we know who's making the mutation. Obviously, if it's not valid, it's not going to pass. It will just return false. So, unauthorized.
Okay, and then on line 40, we have the request user ID decoded token. So for queries like bookings, we use the request user ID, and in the resolver to fetch only the bookings that belong to the logged in user. And then here in the index.js, we have the root query on line 46 to line 49. So here we define the bookings under the root query. So it returns a list of booking objects, which include the nested fields like events and user.
And then under our root mutation, we're going to define our book event, which takes the event ID and returns a booking. So this is going to tell GraphQL what input and output is to be expected.
Okay, and here in the booking.js, we have our function on line 17 to line 30. So on line 21 and 22, we have the if request is auth throw new error unauthenticated. So these two lines of code ensure that only authenticated users can access their booking, and the request is auth flag is set by the JWT middleware by the isauth.js, which verifies that the token from the request header, and if the user is not authenticated, the query is rejected immediately. And then on line 27, we have the const booking await booking.find. That line queries the booking collection in MongoDB. It filters the booking by the currently logged in user ID, so each user only sees their own booking. And then on line 30, we have the return bookings.map and the return transform booking. Each booking document is passed through the transform booking function, and this function formats the booking and sets up the lazy resolution for nested fields like events and user.
And then here on line 42, this mutation is book event. So this is going to create a new booking that links the logged in user with a specified event. So this resolver also checks authentication. So you can see over here on line 45. Then it finds the event by ID, creates a new booking with the current user, saves it to MongoDB, and returns the formatted results.
In the merge, we have the transform booking function on line 93 to line 100. So this function takes a raw booking from the database and it cleans it up before sending it to the client. So it copies the booking data, so we keep all the original fields, and then it formats the dates to make it easier to read. And then it sets up the lazy loading for related data like user and events. So we only fetch those details if the client asks for them.
And now the question is, how does the backend all communicate? So our function is fetch bookings. So this method is just to fetch all bookings from the backend, and then it's going to use a GraphQL query and use this token. As you can see here, this is our GraphQL query. And then it's just going to send the request to GraphQL endpoint using fetch. So fetch bookings is like to GraphQL query, gets all the bookings and their events, then it's going to save them to states. Just going to come back basically. Yeah, and then
Right.
Yeah,
Sorry, carry on.
So in the MongoDB, each booking stores the object IDs for the user and events, and then we resolve those references in the backend only if the client asks for them.
And when we run the book event, a new document is created, as you saw earlier. With a collection of the user event and IDs, and that's how we just link all the dots together.
Okay. Is that the demonstration?
Yes, so that was our demo. We also can tell you what we think about GraphQL.
Sure, yeah. Give me your thoughts on QL.
So, in my opinion, GraphQL, it's like a modern query language and a runtime for APIs. So it's just letting you ask exactly for the data you need. And unlike REST, where you often have to hit like all the multiple endpoints to gather the related data, GraphQL will just let clients fetch all the required data in a single request exactly how you want it. So it just makes apps faster and more efficient, especially for like complex or nested data.
Also, a benefit for GraphQL, it's great for front-end developers because it gives them more control over the data they get. It reduces overfetching and underfetching, and it makes APIs easier without breaking existing clients. That's why it's popular for modern apps like rich UI, single-page applications, and mobile apps, where performance is flexible.
Brilliant. I agree. Yeah, no, awesome. You can end the recording and then